Thank you, Thomas, for this great introduction. And thank you all for being here tonight. As Thomas mentioned, I went back to school in 2006 to finish my undergraduate work in business when my older son Matthew entered college. I obtained my bachelor's degree in science in accounting from UVU in 2008. I am an entrepreneur and small business owner, and I have lived here in Orem since 1983. 30 long years. Wonderful years with my wife, Marisa, and my 5 children that are here, Nina, Matthew, Joshua, Caleb, and Zachary. I have a vision for achieving the future that Utah should and can have. Without that vision, it is not possible for our state to provide a prosperous, well-managed, and opportunity-rich future. The problem is that we keep electing politicians, and the solution to that problem will not be found in electing more or even better politicians. We have an excess of politicians and a deficiency of leadership. It is time to go where no other politicians can take us. It is time to reform our broken systems of government. It's time for purposeful government. I am asking for your vote to represent you in the Utah Legislative District 59. I wish to represent you because for many, many years now, politicians have talked about reforming the government. For many years, they have debated the proper role of government, and for many years, some have suggested that the government is the problem, and others saying that government is the solution. In my view, government is neither the problem nor the solution. Government can be part of the problem, or government can be part of the solution. What government is and does depends on we the people. The real question is, what kind of government do we want? Do we want a bloated, ineffective bureaucracy, or do we want a purposeful, smart, and efficient government serving us, we the people? It is our call. Let's make the tough choices in these tough times. One of the core principles that I want to really apply during this campaign and during the time, if I'm so lucky to get your vote and be your representative, is that civil, individual liberty, individual sovereignty is key to solving the problem of this great state and this great nation. One of the core problems that we have is that our education and training systems were built for another era. We can get where we must go only by changing the system itself. As an example, we recruit disproportionately from teachers, from among the less able of the high school students who go to college. And second, we tolerate an enormous amount of waste in the system, failing our students in the early years when the cost of doing the job right would be relatively low, and trying to remediate it later at a much higher cost. We know that. As an example, our family, we send our kids in pre-kindergarten and kindergarten to private schools. Well, that gives them an edge. We know that. That is important to look for all kids of all family, of any demographics to do the same. Third, or to afford the same, or to access the same, if they so choose. Third is that this is inherently inefficient system has gotten progressively more inefficient over time. Some say that there is not enough money to go around. Well, I disagree. Because in an effort to demonstrate that we are tough on crimes, We build jailhouses filled with nonviolent criminals at a very high cost to the taxpayers, $30,000 a year. Which means that just 10 inmates cost Utah taxpayers, $300,000. That's over $250,000 each year. In 10 years, that's $3 million that you and we have to pay. And yet, what do we spend as a state per pupil, per student? $6,064 according to the census report of 2010. Another report from Rutgers Graduate School of Education and the Education Law Center gave Utah an F for effort because the percentage, states the report, of the state gross domestic product given to education. Some may say it's about money. Well, I say it's about tough choices. It will take courage to change the old systems of prisons and schools for a new system of skills labor and training for our people, young and old, with rehabilitation, treatment, and reintegration programs for the offenders of our laws. Again, specifically and specially, the non-violent criminals. It's time for some tough choices. Now, Utah has a choice, and Utah's choice would be high skills or low wages. Now, while the standards has produced real gains, especially for minority students like the 18% of Hispanic that live in our district, those gains have been leveling off, and the gains have been, modest in comparison to the increase in per pupil expenditure over the last 30 years. The fourth is that the growing inequality in family incomes is contributing heavily to the growing disparities in student achievement. Another thing is that we have failed to motivate our students to take tough courses and work hard, thus missing one of the most important drivers of success in the best performing nations. What else? Our teacher compensation system is designed to reward time in service rather than to attract the best and brightest of our college students and reward the best of our teachers. Next is that too often our testing systems reward students who will be good at routine work while not providing opportunities for students to display creative and innovative thinking and analysis, which is quite needed now in the 21st century. It's a knowledge economy. The other thing is that too often we have built a bureaucracy in our schools in which, apart from the superintendent of schools, the people who have the responsibility do not have the power, and the people that have the power do not have the responsibility. Now, most of the people who will be in our workforce are already in it. And if they cannot master the new literacy at a high level, it will not matter what we do in our schools. And lastly, let me say this. Although we have an elaborate funding mechanism to provide funds to send young people to college and universities to launch them in the careers of their choice, we have done a very poor job of making it possible for adults and professionals who have full-time jobs and family responsibilities to get the continuing education and training they need to survive in the world that is coming. But the most important truth is this: we do not need new programs. One of our children, Joshua, is turning 20. He's going to be graduating in 2 semesters with a bachelor's degree. Now, why is that so? Well, there's a program here from UCAST, And through that program, he was able to go attend high school and at the same time obtain a bachelor's degree. An associate degree. Wonderful. Wonderful. So at 18 years old, he has an associate degree. My son Caleb, on the other hand, did not want to go to that same program, and even if he wanted to, there's a lottery. So at 14 years old, he wanted to go and see if he could go to university. We took him to UVU, passed the adequate test, was registered and entered UVU as a full-time student. He's been on campus now since. He's a junior now in college, and he's 17 years old now. And by the time he's 19, he will graduate with a bachelor's degree in computer science. And according to him, and we believe him, he's having a wonderful time. The one thing that is indispensable is a new system. The problem is not with our educators, it is with the system in which they work. That is what the new Commission on the Skills of the American Workforce focused on. And it is the implementation of that report that will take courage and leadership. The choice in the next election is clear. We can allow ourselves to be beguiled by politicians who tell us that our government system is sound and that we just need them, the same politicians that messed it up, we need them to fix it, to refocus, to redirect the focus. And we can accept the reality that our system is broken and just serves by politicians' interest rather than the people's interest, and choose to elect leaders who will shine a spotlight on the problems, find solutions, and people that possess the courage to fight for the necessary reforms. My friends, we cannot have a government for the people unless we also have a government of the people and by the people. I've never run for office. I'm not a politician. And that's what we need. We need real people in there coming up with common sense solutions. In our daily lives, we do it all the time. We adjust, we adapt, we do what we need to do because we've got to figure out how to fix our budget at home, how to do the things we need to do. And the politicians don't seem to get it. The responsibility for restoring and maintaining the proper role of government begins with each of us. And I'm willing to lead the charge from within District 59, but I need your vote today and your continued support throughout the hard work that lies ahead of us. Thank you very, very much for your support. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming.